are dying. Ogun communities cry out to President Muhammadu Buhari. Traditional rulers and residents of border communities in Ogun State on Thursday cried out to President Muhammadu Buhari over their worsening plight with the closure of the borders, saying the policy is killing them. 6 traditional rulers, including the Onihumbo of Ihumbo Kingdom, Oba Joseph Adesina, a historian, Professor Anthony Asiwaju, and scores of residents from over a dozen communities, said evacuation of farm produce and poultry products by local farmers have become impossible as overzealous border task force involved in the Operation Swift Response allegedly harassed them on the guise that farm produce were smuggled items. Addressing a press conference in Abeokuta, the state capital, the leaders of the border communities under the aegis of Ogun West Consultative Forum and other stakeholders urged President Muhammadu Buhari to review the border closure and reduce the hardship they face daily. The traditional rulers urged Buhari to also rescind his order banning supply of petroleum products within 20 kilometers radius of the border. They lamented that men of the Nigerian Customs Service have made life more miserable for them, all in the name of upholding the presidential ban order on petroleum. The spokesperson of the group and a professor of African Comparative History and Borderland Studies, Anthony Asiwaju, alleged that the order prohibiting petroleum movements by 20 kilometers to border communities has brought untold economic hardship to the innocent Nigerians living in the areas who have nothing to do with economic sabotage, popularly referred to as smuggling. According to Asiwaju, the presidential order has criminalized the entire law-abiding people of Y0RUBA land of Ogun West Senatorial District, who are principally affected by the policy. He explained that the order is also having an economic hardship on the people of the area as well as its attendant loss of lives. With the regular suffering of infrastructural deprivation and political marginalization, the people of the territorial authorities and communities in border areas of Ogun State are now having to stand a wide range of human abuses, he said. The professor noted that it is inappropriate to use a unit to judge the whole WEOC of the group also declared that the federal government's reason advanced for closing the borders and also restricting petroleum movements by 20 kilometers to the border were serious indictments on the ability of the NCS officials at effectively policing the Nigerian borders, and as such should not be blamed on residents of the border communities. So guys, this issue has really has been going on for some months now, and in my opinion and opinions of many is that the advantage of this border closure is nothing to compare with the disadvantages. The advantages outweigh the disadvantages. Yes, the negative side of the border closure is more than the positive aspect of it. The benefits of it is not compared to the hardship what people are facing. And just like we are saying, and people are saying the same thing, and that is just the honest truth. Because if you think that people are smuggling what they are not supposed to bring into the country, what are you supposed to do? We have people who are at the borders, we have people who are watching the border, we have the customs, we have the police, we have the military, as you may have them. You have the people who are supposed to be held responsible for that. You are not doing that. The next thing is for you to say, oh, because a lot of things are being smuggled in, or you are trying to make sure that the homegrown products are effective, are all over the place, and yet you are not holding those people responsible. So what are we talking about? Of course, we know that we have there are disadvantages or there are advantages of this border closure, but what about other things? Initially, when some people came out saying that even the government acknowledged the fact that, of course, they know that there are some people who are doing genuine business, in respect of this border, bringing goods through the borders, the land border, and yet the government does not care. And those people, they have lost millions, apart from even these ones that are even complaining that because they are very close to the border, they are the people residing around that border closure. They know what they are passing through because of overzealous people, those same people who are supposed to be monitoring or manning that border and make sure it's effective, they are the same people coming out to use that as an excuse, harassing people as well. Those people who are doing their own thing, have their poultry and having their own agricultural products and what have you. Now these overzealous custom people going there to harass them. And yet these guys, they will not listen. Of course, they have government, they have governor there. They should be able to cry to the governor so that the governor will relate their message to the president. Even they have a senators where they have a House of Representatives people that they can talk to. It is not only collecting getting a constituency allowance, because what are they doing there on this floor of the Senate? Of course, some people have really argued that this issue of border closure is not even the best, but the government is just adamant, and a lot of rumors have it that other borders in the northern part of the country are opened, free entry and exit. People are going in and coming out. Why is it that it is only in this side they are talking about? We have a security problem in this country, and from the northern side of the country, that is where a lot of things are coming in, illegal things are coming in. When you talk about ammunition and all of that, yet those borders are not closed. Then why do you expect people will not start insinuating, will not think? Most of the time when people say, oh, when things happen, we always blame ourselves. Oh, that we are too sentimental, we are too tribalistic. Any little thing, we say, oh, because this one is this. Yes, because those are the things that have happened in the past. You cannot blame people. In any of your policy, people will try to look at it in and out. Look at the whole thing holistically. They will be able to judge whether you are taking that policy genuinely or you are trying to get at some other people. And at the end of the day, they always find out that you are trying to get at other people. So if anything, even when you are coming up with a clean policy, people will not want to accept it. People will just immediately jump into conclusion. People will ordinarily insinuate. People will definitely insinuate. Just like this resident crying out that they are suffering, and it has brought a lot of hardship on them, and the same custom people are harassing them, overzealous. They want to take advantage of what is happening. The other day we learned that the former president Obasanjo coming out to say, oh, the border closure is in good line, he's supporting Buhari on that. In what way? He should be able to explain why. Nobody has said that the border closure is not is not bringing any benefit. But the disadvantage of this border closure is more than the benefit. People always tend to, we should try to start from somewhere. Of course, we'll start from somewhere, but you need to put some things in place. You can't be saying you are helping people and yet you are dipping people down into poverty and hardship. You need to be bringing them up gradually. Not that because you are doing one policy is, damaging the lives of people. And yet they are not even bothered. And they have even vowed that they are not going to open the border soon until the neighboring countries do the needful. What about the custom people, the security people that are supposed to be manning those borders, so that we will not be seen or will not be hearing that a lot of goods are being smuggled in that are not supposed to be in the country? Why can't you hold those people responsible? If you know that those people are not doing their job, you change them. You bring in other people, and you try to make sure that anybody that does what is wrong against the government and this thing, we go in for it. They are there, that's why they are paid. So they just leave all of those ones. The same thing when they were talking about this Ruga of 18. Oh, it will help it will stop the clash between the farmers and the herders, which is very, very wrong. People are committing havoc. Instead of you to arrest them, bring them to book. You are saying you want to create Ruga so that their presence will be felt all over the country before all of those things will stop. If you are doing that kind of a thing, don't you think it will aggravate even the crisis that you are even trying to curb? So we condemn it from the beginning that is not the way to go. If you want the clash between the farmers and the herders to stop, tell the herders to get a designated place and do their farming there, or do their business there. They should not be moving around, because it is their moving around that is causing all these problems. If they are situated in a place, definitely nobody will encroach on anybody's rights or anybody's farm or anybody's business. Now the people that you are supposed to hold responsible, you are not holding them responsible. You just went ahead and say you are closing border. Have you put measures, for goods not to be smuggled into the country? Have you been able to put those measures on ground? No. So these people, if they are lucky, maybe they will hear them. But from the angle of the government, they said they are not interested to close down the border, that until the neighboring countries do the needful. So guys, that's my own opinion. Let's hear what you think about what the complaint of this residents, the Ogun residents, crying out to President Muhammadu Buhari, saying that they are dying because of this border closure. He needs to look into it. And they are telling the government also to hold the people responsible, the so-called NCS. What are they even called? They call the custom people. I think that's what they are called. That they should be able to hold them responsible. The security operatives enforcing the border closure, they should be able to hold them responsible so that they will do the needful, instead of uh, chasing shadows and say they are doing work, and meanwhile the people you think that you are trying to help, you are even getting them more into hardship and trouble. So guys, leave your comments and let's hear your take. Thank you very much. Bye.